The information layer is set. The Department of System Integrity has what it needs to audit. Now it goes to work. The precision filter is the DSI's first tool. It does one thing. It finds the vague language in a law or policy, the undefined adjective, the unmeasured standard, the word doing all the work with no metric attached, and it replaces it with something verifiable. Not a feeling, a number, not an intention, a threshold. This video runs the precision filter on a real law, something the audience already knows exists. A law with a gap between what it says and what it does. Once the filter runs, once that gap is visible, it does not close. Civil asset forfeiture was designed to do something the criminal justice system had struggled to do for decades. Take the money. In 1984, Congress built the mechanism into law. Prosecuting drug traffickers was possible. Convicting them was possible. But the organizations kept running. Because the money kept running. Seize the leader and the structure survives. Seize the structure and the money finds a new structure. The financial infrastructure of a criminal organization is more durable than any individual inside it. The mechanism allows law enforcement to seize property connected to criminal activity. Not the person, the property, the house, the car, the cash. The legal proceeding is civil, which means the property itself is charged, not the owner. The stated logic was sound. You cannot prosecute a dollar bill, but you can take it. 4 large trafficking operations. Organizations with layered financial structures, ownership routed through third parties, and legal complexity designed specifically to put assets beyond the reach of prosecution. This was a meaningful tool. The lower evidentiary bar was intentional. It was designed to reach what criminal conviction alone could not. That is the strongest case for the system as designed. It deserves to be stated before the filter runs. The precision filter starts with one question. What word in this law is doing all the work with no metric attached? The statute permits seizure of property used or intended to be used to facilitate a crime. Stop there. Intended to be used. That is a prediction. It is not a threshold. It is not a standard of evidence. It is not a measurable condition. It is a judgment call made by the agency conducting the seizure about what the owner was planning to do with their own property. The owner does not need to be charged with a crime. The owner does not need to be convicted. The owner does not even need to be present. The property is charged, and the owner must prove the property is innocent, which means proving a negative against a standard that was never defined in measurable terms. The precision filter names this immediately. Intended to be used is not a metric. It is an adjective with a gap inside it large enough to drive a seizure through. And in the 40 years since 1984, that is exactly what happened. The precision filter has a second question. Who benefits when this mechanism activates? The equitable sharing program routes a percentage of federal forfeiture proceeds back to the agency that made the seizure. The agency that takes the property keeps a cut. The incentive was built for a specific purpose: cooperation between federal and local agencies on large trafficking cases. Local agencies commit resources. Federal agencies provide legal backing. Proceeds are shared. For that purpose, the incentive was functional. But incentives do not stay in the box they were built for. When the scope of seizures expanded beyond large trafficking operations to routine roadside stops, individual drivers, cash in a vehicle, no charges filed, the revenue incentive kept running. The same mechanism, a different population. The DOJ's own Inspector General reviewed DEA cash seizures between 2007 and 2016 and found the department could not determine whether those seizures advanced criminal investigations at all. Not some, not most, any. The DSI has a name for this. When a mechanism no longer serves its stated purpose because it now serves its own continuation, that is an extractive loop. The equitable sharing program became one. Not because anyone decided to corrupt it, because the incentive produced the outcome the incentive was designed to produce, at a different scale, against a different population than the one the design intended. The architecture makes legal challenge irrational. The cost of contesting a seizure in court routinely exceeds the value of the seized property, which means the rational response for most individuals, not guilty, never charged, property taken, is to walk away. Not because the law is on the government's side, because the math is. The Institute for Justice analyzed DOJ data and found $4.7 billion in equitable sharing payments between 2000 and 2013, a finding reported by the Washington Post. The Post's own investigation found $2.5 billion seized from people who were never charged with a crime. Both figures, one mechanism. The Institute for Justice has documented cases numbering in the thousands. The IRS alone made over 639 seizures in a single year from people never charged with any crime. A mechanism that produces rational surrender from people with valid claims is not functioning as designed. It is functioning as the incentive structure dictates. The filter has run. Here is what it found. The vague language, intended to be used. Not a metric. An undefined standard that places the burden of proof on the property owner without defining what that proof must look like. The extractive loop, proceeds routed back to the seizing agency, creating a revenue incentive that operates independently of prosecution outcomes. The precision filter does not just name what is broken, it specifies the replacement. Vague language fix, replace intended to be used with a binary standard. Permanent forfeiture requires a criminal conviction. Temporary seizure during active investigation remains available. The investigative tool survives. What is removed is permanent forfeiture without conviction. The exploit surface closes. Extractive loop fix. Route forfeiture proceeds to a neutral fund, a crime victim compensation fund, a general education fund, rather than back to the seizing agency. The financial incentive to seize is severed from the agency making the seizure decision. The mechanism continues. The revenue motive does not. These are not proposals. They are documented patches. New Mexico implemented the conviction requirement in 2015. It is the most documented case study available. Crime rates did not rise. Arrest rates did not drop. Prosecution was unaffected. The investigative tool survived. The exploit surface closed. Several jurisdictions have implemented neutral fund routing. The extractive loop can be severed without eliminating the forfeiture mechanism. The stated purpose, removing the financial infrastructure of criminal enterprises, remains intact. The vague language and the revenue incentive are gone. What is left is a mechanism that does what it was designed to do, without the components that allowed it to do something else entirely. The precision filter does not care which administration expanded civil asset forfeiture. It does not care which party controlled Congress in 1984. It does not care which state implemented reform and which did not. It runs the same analysis regardless. The question is never, who did this? The question is always, why does this system produce these outcomes? Some see corruption. The evidence supports that reading in some jurisdictions. But corruption requires a corrupt actor. Remove the actor and the system can revert. Architecture does not require a corrupt actor. It produces the same outcome with anyone inside it. That is why the architecture is the target. Fix the incentive and the corrupt actor loses the mechanism. Leave the incentive and the honest actor eventually produces the same result. This is what the precision filter does. It finds the word doing all the work with no metric attached. It names the incentive that replaced the original purpose. And it specifies a verifiable replacement, one that has already been tested, already been demonstrated, already been shown to close the exploit without destroying the tool. The Department of System Integrity does not need a political majority to run this analysis. It needs the filter, the data, and the willingness to state what the filter finds. Find the vague word. Name the incentive. Replace both with something verifiable. I am the system architect. The precision filter has run on one law. One exploit surface identified. One tested patch on record. Next, the complexity budget. The DSI's second tool. A different kind of exploit surface. Not a single vague word. An entire architecture built from rules that serve 1% of cases at cost to the other 99.